Can Harry Maguire save his professional football career? Can Chelsea find their form? And will Manchester City face their first true test of the season? It's match week 5. This is AS Premier League. Welcome to the preview. There's plenty of things to get into today. A weekend perhaps not of the biggest names facing off against each other, but some really exciting games nonetheless. Stick around to the end of the video to see my accumulator for the week and let's see what odds it comes out with. Leave a like on the video before we get started, and if you're new, make sure you subscribe. Now, first, let's get on with the game to not watch. The game not to watch is our curated pick of the games that aren't on TV this week. Obviously, we can't endorse anybody from the UK watching these games, cough cough, but we can tell you how exciting they are going to be. This week's game to not watch is Manchester United versus Brighton. Big surprise, I choose United again. It always feels odd when Manchester United aren't on TV, especially when they're playing an exciting and attacking team like Brighton. It just seems a bit odd. It seems like the fans are really losing out on a spectacular game, and this is why it's our pick for game not to watch this week. We have so many storylines coming into this match. It's like an episode of Game of Thrones. If you shut your eyes for a minute, you're going to be completely lost. So let's go over some of these big storylines heading into this match. So you've got Harry Maguire coming back from international duty where he scored an own goal. He's been ruthlessly mocked by Scotland fans, Ukraine fans, and England fans, and he's just not in the best frame of mind. So much so that his mum has had to come out and defend him, put out a statement protecting her little baby. Of course, we don't condone abuse to players, but it does seem a bit odd considering it's not like Harry Maguire's been playing well. It's not like any of the criticism is unfounded, and that seems to be the problem that people have. They're having a go at the criticism, and criticism's absolutely fine. It's when it becomes abuse, that's where the issue lies. So Maguire heads back to United into a position where he might actually start. United are struggling with defenders. Varane's injured. Martinez got injured in the Arsenal game. We're not sure whether he's starting or not. And he's in a terrible frame of mind, Maguire, when he comes back. It's not exactly set up for him to be successful. Can he rebuild his career? Can he prove that he belongs in the top flight of English football? I'm not entirely sure, especially when he's going to be playing against some incredibly bright attacking talents. Evan Ferguson is mesmerising to watch. Same with Matoma, same with Enciso. Harry Maguire's going to have to deal with all these in a bad frame of mind, in bad form, going into one of the most criticised roles in all of English football as a Manchester United centre-back. I think Maguire is having his last laughs. Manchester United have also uncovered a true problem at right wing. Jadon Sancho basically threw a hissy fit over being dropped for the Arsenal game for not training too hard, and a very public and controversial falling out with the manager, and it's now been announced that he won't be returning to the first team until all that disciplinary action is resolved. Anthony Santos has been suspended by the club for criminal charges and investigation that's going on in Brazil. We're not going to comment on that, this is a football channel, but it does seem like Manchester United have a massive problem in staffing. You've also got massive injuries. Varane, Maguire, Martinez, Mount. It's all kind of tying together to be not a very good time for Erik ten Hag. He really needs to find the staff, and we're wondering whether we see a load of youngsters come on Saturday in place, or does he stick with the golden oldies? We're not entirely sure, but it's definitely a good storyline to follow going into that Brighton game. On the other side of the story, Brighton and Hove Albion have been playing extremely well this year, despite selling two of their best players, McAllister and Caicedo. Obviously, they got a decent amount of money for them in return. They are proving time and time again that recruitment's better than a hefty price. They develop them and then sell them on. It's a perfect system, and you've got these coaching staff that are working above and beyond to make sure that their system, their players all work properly. And I think the really interesting storyline to come from this is Evan Ferguson was heavily linked to Manchester United in the summer and in the summer before. It's a very interesting thing that when all the players heard all summer is, oh, Manchester United are really interested in you. You don't go there, and then you face them that season. That player who's on top of the world right now gets to prove to the club that maybe didn't want him that they should have wanted him, and he gets to hurt them. I think that's a fascinating storyline, and he's going to be up against two defenders that maybe haven't played a lot. Maybe on top of form, Lindelof, Maguire, Martinez might be there. He has a real opportunity to hurt Manchester United and make it count. Every weekend the Premier League is full of surprises, but this week, for the average fan, I think even this will be surprising. I'm going to go for West Ham United. I know. West Ham, who almost got relegated last season. West Ham, who have sold Declan Rice and replaced him with someone from the Dutch League. West Ham, who are facing the Titans Manchester City this weekend. But this is also West Ham, who are the current European champions in the Conference League. West Ham, who have beaten both Chelsea and Brighton this season comprehensively. West Ham, who sit in fourth behind three of the big six and above the other three. Now, am I expecting them to beat Manchester City? Absolutely not. But I believe this weekend is when West Ham proves to the rest of the league that they are not just another team that's going to be swiped aside by Pep Guardiola's minions. They are a team to be reckoned with. A team, actually, that might be Manchester City's kryptonite. We've seen over the years with Pep Guardiola, he's struggled against teams that are incredibly well structured and incredibly good on the counter-attack. I'm thinking about Wolves in the time of Nuno Espirito Santo, who's still one of my favourite managers to say his name. And at Everton, under that fella, what was his name? Oh yeah, Ancelotti. City always struggle to get results against them, and I think they'll do the same with West Ham. Now it's time to predict the flop of the week, possibly the hardest one to pick, because obviously you're thinking Harry Maguire, Kai Havertz, but nobody really expects them to do well. We need to find somebody who we think is going to do really well, but is actually going to do terribly. And this week I'm going to go with Nick Pope. Newcastle fans have been shoving it down our throats that this guy is the second coming of Jesus, but he's not walking on water at the minute. In fact, he might be drowning. He's not been great in the first few games. He's been dropped from the England squad. And now he's facing a Brentford side that, despite not having Ivan Toney, is still banging in the goals. Nick Pope, prove me wrong, but I predict you're going to be the flop of the week. Who is the most under pressure manager this week? Honestly, I think it's got to be Sean Dyche. Look, he's had a while to get stuck in. He's had a pre-season, he's had a transfer market. That team has been heavily invested in, and Dyche's not getting anything out of it. He's hailed as a manager that can get those clubs out of the mire, even when they've not had much given into it, and he's just not doing it. They might be one of the worst teams, setup-wise, in all of football at the minute. Sorry, all of the Premier League at the minute. I'm sorry, Dyche, I wasn't meaning to disrespect you that much. And I think the biggest reason why he might be under pressure is that Everton have invested so much in the players, but they've also invested so much in the club. This new stadium that's being built isn't going to pay itself, and they need Premier League football to keep those funds coming in. If that's not going to be delivered by Dyche, I believe he's going to be out the door very soon. Okay, this one is for our referees. Every Premier League weekend we see massive controversy in the sport, and it's mostly down to our referees' decisions. So we're going to predict, well, I'm going to predict, what big controversy we see this weekend. And I think the time wasting, I think that's out the window. I think the players have got the hang of it. I think we're going to see a massive crunching tackle that gets a red card, and then we see the same in another game and it gets a yellow. That's the controversy I'm predicting this week. Okay, so it's time to build my ACCA. So get up your Paddy Power, Betfair, whatever. This isn't sponsored, and we're going to go through it. So we've got Liverpool to beat Wolves, obviously. We've got Villa beating Palace. I think that's obvious too. Fulham beating Luton. It's not hard to predict this week, is it? Brighton beating United. Ooh, that's a tough one. But yeah, I think Brighton are going to beat United. Spurs beating Sheffield. Pretty easy. West Ham are going to make Manchester City draw. Guarantee it. Well, I don't guarantee it. Don't come at me. Alright, so we've got Newcastle drawing to Brentford as well. Chelsea beating Bournemouth. Arsenal beating Everton. And Forest are going to beat Burnley. That's my ACCA this week. Put it down. And please only put a little bit of money on it. It's not a guaranteed thing. They're stupid odds for a reason. Put £1 on it. Put even less on it. Just have a bit of fun with it. Don't make it so expensive. Okay, thank you so much for watching today. I really appreciate it. If you can do me a favour, leave a like, subscribe and share it to your friends. It would really help us out. You will see so much great Premier League content on this channel, so make sure you're hitting that subscribe button and we will see you on the next one.